Isn't that exciting? You just landed your first client. You're gonna be like, dude, I'm gonna give you the best tune ever. Your GTI is gonna outrun any Civic out there. But you forgot the first 3 stages, okay? So what I did is I thought about this next step, which is this video of basically before you start tuning, 3 things you need to look at. I mean, the last thing you want is to tune this dude's GTI and then it doesn't outrun a Civic because it's got some mechanical problems. Imagine tuning the guy's car and something breaks. What is he gonna say? He's gonna say, dude, your tune is bad. I'm gonna badmouth you left and right. Next moment you go on Facebook or Instagram, do not use these people. This guy calls you by your name. He's doing a crappy job, or he's gonna be on your neck sitting, when are you gonna fix my car? You broke my car. You must fix my car. So these are some scary stuff, and it actually does happen. So yeah, just be prepared, and that's why I technically put these 3 things together. Step number 1 is do a visual, a hardware check on the client's car. Even if it's your own car, even if you're gonna tune your own car. Dude, when last did you pull the dipstick to make sure you've got enough oil in it? When last did you open the oil cap, looked underneath and just saw that there's no white residue from water in your oil system? When last did you check your coolant level? I mean, like, these are basic things you can actually look at. You know, then otherwise just look at the person's car. Look if there's any crash damage maybe on side of the pillars. This is going to indicate that if there was crash damage, there might be some other hardware underneath the car or on the side of the car that you can't see, like maybe a damaged intercooler or something. Man, if you can get the car jacked up, or drive up her ramps, or get it lifted up, just go underneath. I mean, when last do you think any owner actually goes underneath the car to have a proper inspection of their car, you know? I mean, most of the people just take their car for a service and hopefully they see something and they tell them, you know? You might actually find out that the client doesn't even know he has a massive oil leak. When you drop that oil pan, it's just like floating oil there in that, sorry, not the oil pan, the splash tray underneath. You just find that there's oil floating in there. Like, how does this person not even know that he has an oil leak? And even if you tell him, like, dude, check all of this oil, he'll actually turn around and say, that's why I'm adding so much oil. But he wouldn't have told you that before the time, would he? So that is the basic things you need to look at. You need to make sure this guy actually fixes his stuff. He maintains it, because if he doesn't and it breaks, it's going to be you. And that's the scary part about tuning. So go through this inspection or this hardware inspection, and even if you find something, rather turn the job away. Tell this guy, sorry, I'm not going to tune your car with a splash tray that's splashed with oil. Please go and fix your oil leak, clean the splash tray. When it comes back, then you'll actually just have a quick inspection, see that the oil leak is gone, then you'll tune his car. Next moment he's gonna run out of oil and say, no, your tune broke my car after 1,000 kilometers, but this guy has had this oil leak for the last 10 years. So please guys, do that hardware visual inspection. Point number 2 is just plug your OBD2 tool in and scan the car's ECU or TCU or whatever. Just have a look and see what it shows you. Sometimes whenever you unplug something and you plug it back in, yes, the engine light might have popped up, but because you plugged it back in, the engine light can go away. But the code is still there in the backside of the ECU, hidden away. The next moment you can just tell this guy, why is literally every sensor of your car lit up? Why is it showing your MAP sensor, your map sensor, and this sensor, and that sensor? You said, oh, because I changed my engine. He never told you that before this time. Why did you change your engine, bro? You'll never find the truth out anyway. So that is the second thing, is scan the car and see what errors you get. And then you gotta learn your errors. Do not be scared to go and search that error code in front of the client. Let him sit there and stress out, dude, what is this code? Oh, he's gonna see this code. He shouldn't see this code. Let him stress. See, look at his reaction, because you can find something like the timing chain is stretched too much. Are you gonna go and tune a car if the timing chain is stretched too much? I mean, that thing can break anytime, or it can jump a tooth or something. Who is he gonna blame? He's gonna blame you. So this is very important to look at. I mean, like, even if you've got like a catalytic converter that's blocked, or under boost code or over boost code, you're gonna try to tune this car and you're just not gonna get it right. You're not gonna have a satisfied client. You're gonna feel like you're failing left and right, but this car is actually having some mechanical problems. Scan that car. Point number 3 is to actually go and data log the car. Okay, so yeah, basically we tune the car and then we go data log the car. No, go and data log the car as standard, as it is, as it came to you. If it has a catalytic converter on, or someone else's file on it, or whatever the case is, go and data log it. That is some valuable information you can have there about the car. Something along the way, you might actually be busy tuning the car 2, 3, 4 tunes later. You might be like, but man, I'm not getting this right. Something is not right. And then you're gonna wish that you've made that first log, that whole first log of how the car came to you, and you can actually follow a trend and see like, oh, dude, your TPS, your throttle position sensor, is actually making some weird stuff. You can see here it was 100%. The next time I ran it was 90%. The next time I ran was 85%, and then it was 100% again. This is something I didn't notice, but now I'm noticing it. And this is how your car came to me. You know, I'm really thinking you're having a throttle position sensor problem. Maybe the sensor is faulty, or whatever the case is. You've got something to backtrack to. You can actually look at that log and maybe see that, whoa, we're having some problems here. If your data log can show you the oil pressure, like your oil pressure is very low. Or if you look at it like your MAF sensor is maybe dirty. You can see like, okay, you're supposed to get 200 grams a second of mass airflow sensor. Obviously, you'll learn these terms as you go. The more cars you tune, the more you tune your own car, you'll learn these grams per second, average how much, and all those kind of things. You're going to be like, your car is supposed to have 200 grams per second of MAF airflow reading going through it. Yours is only 80. I mean, that 80 is probably like a Picanto or something. So your car is MAF sensor is either faulty or dirty. Let's go and clean it. Dude, lady, you're gonna look like a superhero. To see all of these problems, this guy's gonna be like, you're fault finding. You're finding my oil leaks. You're seeing my timing chain is stretched too much. Thank you, I will change it. You see my air filter MAF sensor, it's dirty. Thank you for cleaning it. Wow, my car is idling so much better. You would not have found out all of these things if you did not do these 3 steps. That client wouldn't have told you anything. This is going to help you in the long run. It's going to give you a better reputation. It's going to give you more success. It's going to give you a happier client. Your tuning is going to be so much better by following these 3 steps. I wanted to cover that, all of that in one video. I think that's very important. I think that deserves its own part in this whole entire series. This is not something I want to give you guys bit for bit along the way. This like I told you guys, it's been years that I wanted to do this series. I overthought it. I thought about it. And this is what I came down to. So anyway, guys, there we go. This is part 2 of the first 3 things you need to do before you start tuning a car. Now the fun begins in part number 3.